Ladies and gentlemen, when the Taliban took over Afghanistan, Pakistan fervently lobbied for them. I had said then that this friendship will end very badly, and tonight the terror snakes that Pakistan bred have come back to bite them. Pakistan is driving out Afghan refugees. This is the latest on a situation that could well develop into a full-fledged war between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Let's debate.
When Taliban took over Kabul, Pakistan celebrated as if their own army had won. The then Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan congratulated the Taliban for the win.
ज़हनी गुलामी की जंजीरें तोड़ना ज़्यादा मुश्किल होता है जो अभी अफगानिस्तान में गुलामी की जंजीरें तो तोड़ दी उन्होंने.
An excited Pakistani establishment sent the then ISI chief Lieutenant Faiz Hamid to hobnob with the who's who of the Taliban.
ज़हनी गुलामी की जंजीरें तोड़ना ज़्यादा मुश्किल होता है जो अभी अफगानिस्तान में गुलामी की जंजीरें तो तोड़ दी उन्होंने.
The honeymoon between the two nations was soon over, as the Taliban, an ethnically Pashtun organization, refused to recognize the border with Pakistan, a border which according to them divides the Pashtun land. Taliban's Pakistan chapter, called the Tehreek-e-Taliban-Pakistan, has since then been waging war against Islamabad in a bid to liberate Pashtun lands on the non-Afghan side of the Durand line. Unable to control the violence unleashed by TTP, Pakistan is now targeting the hapless Afghan refugee in a bid to arm twist the Taliban to rein in its Pakistani cousin. So is Pakistan falling into a trap that it created for others? Let's debate.
From Afghanistan, I am joined by Najibullah Azad. He is ex-spokesperson of the Afghan government. And from Pakistan, Islamabad, I am joined by Sundas Malik and Dr. Saeed Elahi, and Gaurav Arya, Major Gaurav Arya, from our consulting editor from Delhi. Mr. Azad, what do you make of this continuous stream of refugees being thrown out from Pakistan? Pakistan says that this will not stop till every Afghan who is living illegally on their soil is kicked out. Mr. Azad, what is this situation developing into?
Good evening. Before I dive into your question, I want to briefly state that the caretaker government in Pakistan was introduced in 1985 to ensure the fairness and transparency of elections as outlined in the 1973 Constitution and the Election Act of 2017. And in the same article, the Article 218 and Section 3 of the Pakistan Election Act, the caretaker government is responsible to take care of the elections. They do not have the authority to enforce the big internal and foreign policies that brings their kind of chaotic situation in the country. So saying that, first of all, the caretaker government in Pakistan does not even have that authority constitutionally based on the Pakistani constitution. They do not have the right to do that. It's only the elected government based on the votes in the parliament or in the lower house to make the decision. And then any decision, any governors that provokes other political parties is not something that the caretaker government can ever do that. And we have seen that in Chaman. They're having political parties, including the Awami Milli National Party or the ANP and Democratic parties of the Pashtun areas. They have been protesting for about a month now. That's first thing. And secondly, based on all international conventions, including the human rights law, including the women's rights law, the child protection law, the UNHCR, Pakistan is not only forcefully deporting the Afghans, but humiliating them, insulting them. There have been reports from the Karachi prisons, according to the defense lawyer Munija Kakar, that hundreds of rape cases have been reported. The Afghan refugees, the female who have been imprisoned by the Pakistani government, They have been raped in the prisons. That's one thing. And thirdly, the territory from where they have been forcefully deporting the Afghans, specifically from Balochistan and KPK or Fatah in the past. These are the disputed territories. There was a contract between Afghanistan and the then British India when there was no Pakistan. Afghanistan has never recognized this Durand line as an international border. We still have a claim this is a disputed territory. And right after the Pakistan came into being in 1947, the founder of Pakistan, Jinnah, signed an entity with the tribal elders in Waziristan that Pakistan would not interfere into their affairs, which means that the tribal areas or Fatah has never been part of Pakistan. This is disputed land. So the saying that Pakistan has openly violating their own constitution, the international laws, the Hague status, and the Geneva Convention, which unfortunately is something that is being done in Pakistan for decades.
I'd like a response from both Dr. Saeed Elahi and Sundas Malik to what you have said. But having said that, Dr. Saeed Elahi and Sundas Malik, you must accept the reality. The reality is that Afghanistan under the Taliban is stronger than you. They are more armed than you. You cannot take them on. They are already threatening you. They are, don't mind my language, they are roasting you at the Durand line. And there are visuals. We all have seen, haven't we, Gaurav, that when the Taliban go forward in the Durand line, then the Pakistani soldiers are running for their lives along the Durand line, right, Gaurav? So the reality is very different today. Pakistan cannot take on Afghanistan, can they, Gaurav?
Arnab,
otherwise the Taliban will run over a whole part of Pakistani territory.
Arnab, this is what the Taliban or their forefathers for 1,000 years have been doing, coming down. It just happens that Pakistan is in the way now and they're getting hammered. I just want to make a very brief point, Arnab, and then it's over to you. You see, when India was implementing NRC, the National Register of Citizens, at that point in time, Imran Khan said that this will lead to genocide of Muslims. Imran Khan is on record. I have the Dawn News article here on my phone in which Imran Khan said that this will result, the NRC will result in such a massive exodus that the world has never seen. This is Pakistan's NRC movement. Pakistan is doing exactly what India never did, except for a small phase in Assam. They are, what did we say in NRC, Arnab? We simply said that those who cannot prove that they are citizens of India, there'll be a separate register for them and we'll figure out, they have to go back because they are not citizens of India. This is what Pakistan is saying. All illegals have to go out. Now, even people with papers are being thrown out. So, Pakistan, is doing exactly what Imran Khan was saying will lead to genocide in India and mass exodus, etc., etc. Arnab, this is my limited point.
Okay, I just want to get a view from our Pakistani guests. How are they going to deal with this situation, You've got some very clear warnings from the Taliban. You are being beaten on the Durand line, right? Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, they're primary centers of violence. People in Balochistan are unhappy. 94% of all fatalities, 89% of all the attacks are from these two regions. You have a problem. Sundas, you should get real about the problem and maybe reach out to the Taliban, apologize to them, take back the Afghans and not take this any further. The situation is not good for you.
Well, I think, Arnab, as always, your introduction and the comments that followed by your panelists are based on certain biasness and a certain need to put down Pakistan once again. But let me put in my own point of view as far as this this conflict, as you say, is concerned, Pakistan has hosted graciously for more than 40 years almost. Afghan refugees, close to 4 million. No, let me complete my point, Mr. Arya. Let me complete my point.
I'm not saying anything.
Refute it later. No, stop making these gestures, but I would rather have you comment through words and not through these, useless
Yeah,
gestures.
we'll leave that to Arnab. We'll leave that to Arnab.
Please stop. Please stop interrupting. Please stop interrupting.
All right.
Let her continue.
Pakistan has recently hosted, and Pakistan has, for those past 40 years, paid a heavy price for this, hospitality. We have lost per annum close to 23 billion on smuggling of U.S. currency and fuel. We have lost close to 3 billion on smuggling and the misuse of the Afghan Transit Trade Agreement. So we have had a huge loss. And since India and the NDS, the RAW and the NDS worked tirelessly to create instability in Pakistan, once again we have seen a rise in terrorism within Pakistan. So Pakistan's stance on Afghanistan and this repatriation is a stance which should have been taken a long time ago. It's a welcome stance by the people of Pakistan as well. This repatriation, the war in Afghanistan is over, and the illegal residents within Pakistan who are creating instability with the support of, like I said, the Indian intelligence agencies, they need to get back to their land. And
I don't think.
As far as the Taliban, no, let me complete. As far as the Taliban government is concerned, it needs to
May, I want to bring in Dr. Elahi also before I.
Arnab,
I would. One minute. Just 1 minute. 1 minute. Dr. Sundas, Dr. Malik, 1 point. 1 point, please. Only for want of time, Dr. Malik. Only for want of time, Dr. Malik, because I have to get Dr. Elahi also in, just for want of time.
Dr.
Elahi, Sundas Malik says we have been so gracious to the Afghans, they have been so ungrateful, because of them there is terrorism, violence, crime in Pakistan, we must throw them out. My point is, how come this sudden realization? When the Taliban took over, 1 minute, when the Taliban took over, Dr. Elahi, Imran Khan went to the UN. He said, people of the world, the Afghan need your support. At that point of time, you never said that the people from Afghanistan are a liability on your country's soil. They have been part of your country's fabric for 40 years.
The liability
is this the way you treat them, Dr. Elahi?
The liability is the abuse of this welcome.
Abuse of the welcome?
That needs to be countered.
You are saying the Afghans have abused your welcome. 1 minute. 1 minute, Dr. Elahi. Dr. Elahi, you're being disrespectful to the Afghans.
Excuse me.
Dr. Elahi, can make that statement?
Give me a few minutes to talk, because first of all, I will make sure Afghans are our brothers. And we are neighbors, Muslims and neighbors and good neighbors. And we have relations across the borders. Half of the tribes live in Pakistan and half in Afghanistan. So nobody can separate us from each other. This is one thing. Other thing is that Afghans who have been deported was decided 4 years back. Last two governments decided to send them back who are illegal. But it was delayed every year, and now it has been, decision has been taken to send them back. This is one reason. Other reason you told about Devender line, the FATA area people after referendum joined Pakistan, and Balochistan, Chirga, Karlat Chirga, they decided to join Pakistan. So the things have been decided by the ways and means in those days. So they're part of Pakistan, and as matter of dispute, yes, Pakistan has dispute with India, India has dispute with China, or even with other countries. So border disputes are normal thing, and 99% countries have their own border disputes. So we
the way you're treating the Afghan women, There are visuals of Afghan women being dragged out of their homes in the middle of the night, atrocities on them, sexual violence on them of the worst kind. You can't justify it.
My brother was wrong. No women has been raped.
Rather than
That is just
imprisoned,
propaganda.
like minorities in India.
We are treating them like our guests, brothers, and we will treat them like that. Other thing is that I want to
Dr.
tell you
Azad.
Arnab, how many
that
of them
Mr.
have been
Kulbhushan,
imprisoned
when he was arrested
for
with
being illegal
300
residents within Pakistan?
Madam, let me talk one thing, then you can talk.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Kulbhushan
So you are
was arrested
treating-
in Pakistan with 300 people, a gang of 300 terrorists who were involved in terrorism in KP, Waziristan, Pakistan, and Balochistan. So these 300 terrorists are still with us,
Sir,
including Kulbhushan.
So
And they have given
what
all
is the impact of this?
documentary
Do you see this?
Because
Do you see
12
this,
consul generals
Mr.
of
Azad?
India in
Mr.
Afghanistan
Azad, I want your
are
view.
involved in terrorism.
Mr. Azad, Mr. Azad, the Pakistanis, as of now, the Pakistan government, you describe as the interim government, correctly so, they feel that Afghanistan does not have a choice in this matter. There are people who have observed a growing tension around the Durand line, militarily, geopolitically, in terms of the
that is all
conflict. Where is
crushed.
this headed? Is the Taliban going to take this lying down? Is this going to be seen to be an
Taliban are not
isolated
in
issue, or
position
could this
to cross
escalate,
that line,
Mr.
sir.
Azad?
I will,
tell
No, you are saying Taliban are not in position, but let me hear it from Mr. Azad.
Even the KP police.
Let me hear it from Mr. Azad, sir.
I have not.
Sir, let me hear it from Mr. Azad.
You guys.
Okay,
Progress.
Let me talk. I have not
So do
interrupted
not
you guys.
think that there is any rift
Have
between
the
the Afghan
ethics,
government
please.
and the Pakistani government.
We are
Don't try to
mature commentators in here. Please let me talk, as I have not interrupted during your talks. So before I get to your question, Dr. Malik said that Pakistan hosted Afghans for 40 years. Okay, let's get to the history. The Cyclone operation, which was signed between Ziaul Haq and the United States, the Charlie Wilson, and then the terrorism factories were established there. It's not something I claim. It's what Parvez Musharraf said. It's what your interior minister, ex-interior minister, Sheikh Rashid, in an exclusive interview with Geo Television, he said that the Taliban are their heroes and they have been provided every single thing. And during the Cyclone operation, during the Civil War, Pakistan was receiving billions of dollars from the United States, and they were receiving billions of dollars from UNHCR. They were receiving billions of dollars from the Middle Eastern, China, and Israel to keep fighting in Afghanistan. And your General Akhtar, he in his book he said Kabul must burn. These are the words. They were hosting the terrorists in Pakistan. Well, Taliban or terrorism is not individuals or groups. It's an ideology. Where this proxy ideology came. The first thing in the first war between India and Pakistan in 1948, the first time Pakistan used the proxy forces from the tribal areas in Kashmir, and then they kept establishing, training the proxy forces against the Afghan governments, the Mujahideen, and then the Taliban. And this is not something new. That's one thing. Secondly,
I see this.
The Durand line issue. It's not a border. It's not a border. Differences, or it's not a dispute on the border, it's a dispute on the territory. In Pakistan, in Banu in 1948, when the referendum was held, Pacha Khan and all Pashtuns, they stepped back.
Well, I've sort of, Mr. Azad and Miss Malik, I've totally overshot the time limit. I promise to revisit this issue. One thing which is very clear to me is, this is not an issue which Pakistan is working towards a resolution. And I don't think Afghanistan is taking it lying down. Very, very, very tenuously placed situation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are tracking this closely. We'll follow it on the ground. I'll see you at 9 tomorrow. Good night and goodbye.